What is up, peeps? Good early afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Back, have been gone for a while. We'll talk about that a little bit. I have a couple stories here that I want to cover. Spending most of the time here for about an hour on the Jonathan Gerlach case out of Pennsylvania, my home state. The bone collector, if you will, as he's started to be called. So as you know, I'm on the school board, so all my meeting schedules are figured out. We have committee meetings. We have a meeting, an open agenda meeting on a Thursday. The following Thursday, the second Thursday of the month, is a regular meeting. We had it last night. So now that I kind of know how all that's going to work out and play out, I could schedule to do things a little better. So you'll definitely be seeing some more of me. Anyone that's members, you're going to have a couple other things coming up that you guys will be able to check out. And I'm also going to do some not live videos, but pre-produced videos. I kind of enjoy making them, talking about different cases that are going on, and a lot of back to what we got to here originally. What brought me to this platform was the minds of series folks, killers, those who do 2 or more with time and space in between, as the FBI tells us qualifies for a serial offender or a series offender. But anyways, things have been going great for me. Excited. It's been cold. It's going to be cold this coming week. Work's been nuts. Car wrecks. Please wear your seatbelt. Don't text when you drive. Don't make coffee when you drive. Don't make sandwiches. Don't put your contacts in. Don't put makeup on. I think those are all the reasons that I've seen for car wrecks over time. But I don't know if my internet's a little slow for you guys or not. I'm seeing my face is kind of moving a little slow, so hopefully it's not. But anyways, let's say hi to everybody. I know it's kind of a weird time, but it worked for me today, and I did want to get on before the weekend. I got some stuff to do tomorrow. I work Sunday, so I wanted to pop in, and we'll start doing try to do more of a regular schedule so I get to talk to everybody and see everyone that I'm missing. I know this time might not be the best for everyone. People working or doing different things, but I'll switch the times up. We'll get back to kind of a night schedule, but we're still coffee. I drink coffee till about noon every day. So Brooke got an espresso machine for Christmas. Actually, she got 3, and we kept the best one. So I've actually had espresso, but I told her I wasn't going to drink espresso until you got me the little cup with the sauce, or like the Sopranos. And they did. So I will have a couple shots of espresso. If you've never had espresso, it's like if you're drinking alcohol. Hey, the beer tastes good, but I'm going to take a shot to try to further me down the line a little bit more, get a little more tipsy. Doesn't taste necessarily great, but it does the job. It gets you jacked up. I don't put anything in it, but I would try espresso if you haven't. It's quite a jolt to the system to get you going. Mustang, what is happening? It's good to see you. Good to talk to everyone. Hope everyone had a great holiday, a great new year, start to the new year. Good morning to Rick Snays, PO. Hopefully everything's going good with you. Gibbo, good to see you, as always. Rescue, good to see you. No riffraff from Gibbo. Good luck. Good luck. I enjoy your content. I laugh quite a bit. I really don't get to watch anyone's lives anymore. I do watch some shows. Frank always texts me. Frank Meister always messages me when he has stuff. I usually go back and watch it later or catch what I can. But me and him were actually talking about this case the other day. We were talking some football, and our teams are eliminated, and Mike Tomlin's gone. He took a lot of shit from people in Pittsburgh. I was here for 19 years. I never had a losing season, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you something about that in a second, the way the players reacted. Cindy, good to see you. I don't know if I said hi to you when I pulled you up before. So there was players openly weeping in the locker room when he told him he was retiring. Joey Porter Jr. was one. Aaron Rodgers, they said, actually wept and kept saying he was sorry. So that's the kind of impact that guy had on people's lives. I don't think he's going to coach anymore. I think he'll be fantastic on TV. Pregame show or a color analyst. The guy's a smart guy. He has great cliches and sayings. I don't think he's going to coach anymore. Harbaugh is already with the Giants. Harbaugh is a great coach. Glad to have him out of our division. But I don't think Mike Tomlin's going to coach anymore. He has, kids, family, stuff's going on. So we'll see what happens. But a fantastic coach, and on all accounts, a really great guy too. Jenks, great to see you. I'm hardly ever in Discord anymore. I'm thinking about taking my Discord down because I hope people aren't messaging or sending me stuff there because I just never look at it. I just a lot going on, but I definitely want to keep doing this. I don't know how much I'll be available in Discord, but people know how to get a hold of me. So anyways, let's talk about the Pennsylvania bone collector, as he's being called. He's from a town called Ephrata. I've never heard of it before. Pennsylvania has some crazy towns there in the central part of the state. But something that I want you to know that I learned as I was looking into this case, he is approximately, I wrote it down here. He is approximately 3 hours from his home to Mount Moriah Cemetery. Mount Moriah Cemetery kind of borders Philadelphia. Philadelphia kind of has a county. Philadelphia is big. So it's our biggest city in the state of Pennsylvania. And it's probably, don't quote me, maybe around 75% of the size of New York City, somewhere in there, heavily populated part. But Mount Moriah Cemetery is actually split into 2 different townships. But this guy was traveling about 3 hours to steal these bones from this cemetery. So before we get into it, let me just give you a little bit of background on it and how they caught him. It's very interesting how they caught him. So he was actually caught. Mount Moriah Cemetery, like I said, it's split in 2. There's some kind of creek that runs through it. It's the first I've learned about this. Yeadon, PA, Yeadon. They were the police that actually arrested him. So somebody was at his house, right? And they saw a body hanging in the basement. I assume preferably to begin to strip any tissue off it. And he was into the bones. He wanted to do away with the tissue, it appears. But we'll get back to that in a second because that might not be totally true. So he had hundreds of bones in there. He has 500 charges against him. Someone tipped it into the tip line and said, hey, I was in this guy's house. He has this here. He's bragging, blah, blah, blah. So the Yeadon Police Department actually set up a sting and caught him destroying some graves or doing something to some graves. And that's a very interesting story. But they actually caught him red-handed. He has since began talking. I don't know everything that he's saying, but it's interesting, though. He's one of those guys that are going to yap. We talk about different killers in different cases. We think this guy's going to talk. We think that guy's going to talk. This guy, some of these people that we come across, that they can't shut the fuck up. And I think he's going to be one of those guys. Did he kill anybody? I don't know. It's possible. Everyone compares him to Ed Gein. I don't know what his IQ is like. Ed Gein had a very low IQ. Ed Gein did kill people, but almost him killing people was a means to an end. He wasn't getting off necessarily on a killing. He wanted to do what he did with their bodies after, skin suits and things like that, looking like his mother, taken from, they took from Psycho from the Ed Gein case. But it's an interesting thing, and I can see the similarities to it, and I understand where people want to go. This guy doesn't necessarily want to kill people. He wants the bones for different reasons. Now, he sells some of them. There's Facebook marketplaces he was in, or Facebook groups. People buy bones, and it's okay. I don't know. I know people collected that, but okay. But in a lot of states, including Pennsylvania, you're allowed to do this as long as you have some kind of proof where you got it from. Hey, a museum had an exhibit, they were getting rid of it, an old medical school, and they'll sell these things to people, and they'll pay a price for it. Now, one of the Facebook groups or Instagram group, I believe is where it came from. The police were talking about it, talked about a skin bag. He sold someone a skin bag or something like that. Skin's a different story. You know, the skin has to be stripped off someone's body. So how or why are you doing that? This wasn't something that was donated to medical cadavers or anything like that through medical cadavers. So this guy was obviously doing his own thing. You do some research into grave robbing, whatever you want to call it. It was done a lot in the 1800s by doctors and medical students. A lot of doctors consider it a necessary evil, actually. This is how we need to learn. People aren't donating bodies. Things are happening. But people like Jonathan Gerlach here is doing it for, we're going to talk what he's doing it for. And guess what it is? What is it almost all the time? It's about power and it's about control. And we'll talk about that and show that to you. But let me put up here an article so we can I just want to give you that background. Oh, Mount Moriah Cemetery. There's actually soldiers that were in the Revolutionary War, French and Indian War, buried there. I think 2011 they closed it for any more burials. Betsy Ross was originally buried there, the creator of the American flag. They later moved her somewhere into Philly in some kind of special founding father type entombed area or something like that. This cemetery was easy to get to. Not a lot of fences. I don't know where you live, how cemeteries are. I've been to cemeteries in a few states. and they're open for certain hours and things like that. And a lot of times fenced in, it's hard to get to. This you can walk in and out. It's a very old cemetery, very open cemetery. So it would be easy for him to get in there at night, do whatever he's doing, and get out without being noticed. So 500 charges is what we're seeing, varying charges. Are they going to try to put the bodies back together with DNA? I think that they kind of have to say, hey, this femur bone was from Joe Smith. This, finger was whatever. They're going to try to do the best that they can for that. But this guy appears to be cooperating and talking to everybody. So we'll see. But here's the article. We'll go over the article here and talk about it a little bit. So let's go to the tab and let's scroll her down and see what we can see. He admits to selling stolen human remains found in Ephrata home, according to the warrant. Now, this guy also had some pinches for stealing things in stores, kind of like it appeared to be tools of the trade for simple burglaries. And as we know that people with the serial killer issue, we know that a precursory crime or a crime that they commit before they actually go out and start killing people is breaking into people's houses, getting into intimate places, stealing clothes, stealing underwear, earrings. What these sickos seem to like is something that only that victim's touching for the most part. Earrings, always close to your face, driver's license. These are very, very personal items, and you would see a lot of them saved as trophies afterwards. So I don't know everything that he had there or anything like that. Has he been charged with killing anyone or admitted to killing anyone yet? No, not yet. And I really don't think that he will be, in my opinion. Local man arrested for allegedly stealing human remains from a Philadelphia area cemetery and storing them in his Ephrata home. Also admitted to selling some of the remains, according to warrants. Jonathan Gerlach, 34, is now behind bars and facing more than 500 charges after detectives discovered the remains, including more than 100 skulls inside the home and the 100 block of Washington Avenue. So skulls have some kind of significance. I'm not sure what. I'm not into that. But of all the body parts and the bones, from what I gather, skulls appear to be the most sought after by people that collect bones. And I'm not knocking people that collect human bones. I don't understand it. It ain't my thing. But I'm sure that there's probably good people that do it for whatever reason. Jonathan is not one of those good people. CBS 21 obtained search warrants Friday that reveal more about how authorities were able to identify. I could get these warrants and share them if you'd like to read them. Would probably be a good idea. After Delphi, we're all quote unquote semi-experts at reading case files and things like that. But anyways, stolen remains, as you can see, we get down into it a little bit more. Detectives have already been investigating reports of burglaries from Pennsylvania cemeteries. December 23rd, a tip was submitted to Lancaster City Police Department. Now, where Gerlach lives is basically between Lancaster and Reading. So from here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a long state. It probably take me in the neighborhood of 5.5 hours to drive from Pittsburgh to Philly. To drive from one side of the state to the other, you're probably talking around 7. So, but there we have the Turnpike, Route 76 runs the whole state. The Turnpike, then it picks up in Ohio. So you could jump on that and relatively easy get there. It's going to take a couple hours. So somebody was at his house and saw this and tipped this in to the Lancaster County Police, who then did their due diligence, reached out. The guy, I believe, told the guy something about, I'm going to Mount Moriah Cemetery and I'm doing this because they knew to watch there. So what they did was they had this guy admitting to stealing things, and then you had grave robberies that were happening. So I don't know if they put the 2 and 2 together or were just sitting on it and happened to grab this guy. But remember, they caught this Jonathan red-handed. They said desecrating a grave or a tombstone. So don't know what that means. He's just doing there kicking it over, or if he was ready to dig things up. But there's press conferences, you can watch them too, where they thought as early as 2 days before he was arrested, he was doing grave robbing. No, tipster told police they know someone who'd recently been in Gerlach's home and saw a partially decomposed corpse hanging in the basement. So again, I don't think he's getting his jollies or anything like that off of the skin and off the tissue of the corpse. It's about the bones for this guy. The tipster said this happened around the same time Luzerne County Mausoleum was robbed in November, and the Gerlach also had been charged with retail thefts in East Earl Township. And I think that in my opinion, he's stealing and he's selling these bones to just so he can survive and continue doing what he's doing. I think that he's a collector of them, and he's just selling them to people. There's probably a lot of black market deals that went on just to fund his lifestyle, to eat, to do things like that. So far, I haven't heard this guy has a job or anything like that. The search warrant reveals Gerlach had allegedly stolen items like a headlamp, gloves, and a metal cutting wheel, along with other items that were said commonly used for burglaries from a hardware store. So this is what he got caught stealing. He got caught stealing items for burglary. Now, it's one of two things. Is he smart and knows I don't ever want to buy these things? I don't want to be on camera buying them and they start looking at me or use a card or anything like that. He should pay cash. Or does he just not have the money and this is how he gets, his items to break in? It's like a pizza cutter or a metal wheel and kind of tools of the trade for burglars. So you just wonder that. I think he's going to tell us, hey, I've always stolen stuff. Or no, I was doing this because I'm smart. I don't think he was doing this because he was incredibly smart. I think he just didn't have money and he needed the items and stole them. It's my guess. This guy's going to be, again, he's not a killer, so he's you can't really necessarily say that he is, on one side or the other, organized or disorganized. He's a criminal and he's stealing bones. But if he has killed anyone, I predict that he will talk freely about it and admit it. But if he did, I would consider it would be an Ed Gein situation where the killing was kind of a means to an end. It wasn't about the killing itself that he got off on. On Instagram, detectives said Gerlach was following an abundance of accounts referencing skeleton collecting, corpse taxidermy, human skull store, oddities, bone museum. Now, they found a Facebook group called Human Bones and a skull selling group where someone thanked Gerlach for a human skin bag. So I'm sure they're reaching out and talking to that person. Why you want a human skin bag, I don't know. As far as I know, it's not legal to sell that. But, I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? Detectives also found Gerlach on Cash App where his profile picture showed someone holding what appeared to be a human skull in front of their face. So they're going to have transactions, everything of what he done if he sold bones to anybody. And, again, that further helps the case that I believe that this guy was just a whatever he was, maybe a little psychotic, obviously, but doesn't have a high IQ, or you'd be making cash deals. You wouldn't be selling things that you dug up on and getting Cash App for, because that's a record forever. After detectives tracked Gerlach's phone records and vehicle to Montmoriah Cemetery in Philadelphia several different times, a detective, allegedly caught Gerlach in the act of stealing the remains on January 6th. This article says stealing remains. The other said desecrating. So I don't know exactly for sure, but I'm leaning to it's what he was doing. And if he was using a turnpike, they'll have the vehicle in Pennsylvania now. You could get what's called an easy pass, and most states probably have. You mount it, and it's hooked to a credit card. Or you don't even stop there. We don't have people in the booths anymore. So you go now 15 miles an hour through the booths, and it takes a picture of your license plate, and it sends you a bill in the mail. And that's just how Pennsylvania operates now. Wednesday, January 7th, detectives seized the following items from the Ephrata home: 100 human skulls, numerous human leg bones, mummified human feet and hands, 2 decomposing human torsos, other assorted skeletal items. The mummified feet and hands make me wonder, what was he doing with those? Could those have been some type of crazy sexual release or something? Because we're talking mummified and you only have feet and hands. He's not mummifying anything else. So, but I think this guy is going to tell us why he was doing things like that. And it could be an Ed Gein situation. Like, what did I do wrong? These people were dead. I don't understand. On Wednesday, detectives also spoke to Gerlach's fiance. You read that right. Who reportedly told them that Gerlach had a storage locker at KO Storage located at 851 East Main Street in Ephrata. That would go maybe against me thinking this was some type of disorganized crime, not a killer, because usually those folks don't have fiancés or girlfriends, but we haven't met her or saw her yet. She could be totally innocent, or she could be crazy as the day is long too. I don't want to make assumptions. Later that day, detectives sent a cadaver dog to the storage unit. The dog indicated there was an odor of human remains in the locker. You get your warrant. So somewhere on the internet, there's a video of the locker, and I guess it's pretty graphic. Search warrant was granted and executed the locker storage the next day. From the locker, detectives retrieved 8 human corpses, miscellaneous body parts, ashes, and older jewelry believed to have been removed from graves. Maybe these, again, if he's selling things to make money and he's doing this for a money-making venture, he would be selling this jewelry, and he's not keeping it. And maybe it's a trinket or it's a souvenir from his crimes. similar to people that kill people. I don't know. I've never really put the two together. The only guy that you keep going back to that we know of is Ed Gein, and we also know that he killed people too. The Lancaster District Attorney, Heather Adams, told CBS 21 she received information that Gerlach may have spent time at the cemetery, but nothing was found to be missing at this time. Following investigation, Gerlach was arraigned on hundreds of charges. We told you 500. Court records indicate he remains in Delaware County Prison in lieu of $1 million bail, with the preliminary hearing scheduled coming up next week in a couple of days. So, what do we think about that? It's pretty, is there a reason for it? This is why I do this, because I want to know what makes people quite so fucked up, what happened in their lives, and how can we stop it from happening again? Or know the signs, like we have the McDonald triad, the homicidal triad. I know some people are hot and cold on that. Bedwetting, especially after they were already, functional using the toilets, bedwetting later into adolescence, fire setting, cruelty to animals. The bedwetting shows that they don't have power. The other two things show that they do have power. So let me say hi to a few folks, answer a couple questions or comments if anyone has any. Then I'm going to show you the psychological reason that people do this on almost every occasion. And again, it's power and control, power and control, power and control. You hear it over and over again. It's almost like, guys, when something's wrong with you, it always goes back to your mother. It almost always does. It's I don't know why that is, but I know that the people that are a lot smarter than me, that's what they believe. So does Jink love skull? Yeah, I mean, look, you have the sugar skulls, right? I learned what sugar skulls were, and there are a lot of different things. And I'm sure that even people that collect human skulls maybe aren't always crazy. They're not necessarily bad people. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't know if there's any kind of like religious or, anything like that. Calm and level-headed chat. Most of the time, that's what we have. Mr. Snae's PO. I don't keep track of anything really anymore. I don't know what anybody's doing. I don't wish anybody bad. Even the worst of the fucking kooks, that are clearly just bad people. There's a reason that they're bad. They weren't born bad. Bad things happen to them. Now they're unfortunately pieces of shit. And hopefully they can clean their thing up. Oh, I don't know. Could that be? Could that be Grizz? But we'll have to check his story out. Guy who stole brains from Indiana Medical Museum. Wow, so I haven't heard that story. That's an insane story. A brain. Gee. I don't know what people are going to be doing with that. I know we can learn a lot from our brains after. A lot of football players. Junior Seau was one. There was a guy, I think his name was Simon, a hockey player, that had CTE from their sports, and when they committed suicide, they shot themselves in the chest so their brains could be studied. So they were at the point where they couldn't live anymore. The brain was just so messed up, but they knew enough and they cared enough to, in that final act, it kind of be as crazy as it sounds. I guess, really sharing and say, hey, look, I know my brain's messed up and I want other people to, that's interesting. I'll have to check that out too. Hey, there's Grizz right there. You're not calling anyone with a sexy voice there, are you, Grizz? I'm not sure. I trust my mods, though. I hope not. I don't know. I do not know. Anyone has anything to add? But so far they were okay. I haven't seen anything. As long as no one brings no crazy bullshit in here, I don't care. I'm not fighting with people anymore. If you think that some people, it's free country. It's free country, but it's not a free channel. So I'm not sure what's happening there. Yeah, maybe there was a mistake. You thought you were. I'm not sure. But I saw your comment. It clearly wasn't. Oh yeah. Uh, could be. Now, people with OCD are not serial killers, right? We know that. But I just wonder, psychologically speaking, and I don't have the answer to this, I'm just wondering it. Is there a relation as far as like the same family of illnesses? Could they be considered the same thing? The compulsion thing is a very good point. The compulsion thing points to not, obviously not organized. But again, this isn't a killer. This is a person stealing bones. So I'm not really sure how to lay that together there. But a lot of the things are in line with each other. So it makes you wonder how all this works. The Amish foothills, huh? Well, Brooks from beautiful Punxsutawney, PA, which they're having their big day coming up here, I think next Monday, where we'll find out that Pennsylvania is probably doomed for another 6 weeks of cold ass weather. But yeah, it's there's a lot of Amish up there too. Actually, we have a new roof. Amish people did our roof. They came down, they traveled a couple hours. We got a metal roof put on in the fall. But I agree with you, Lee Newhouse. That's very interesting. But later, we will have to find someone that's smarter than me on this psychological level. And I'll look for a video, or I don't really know anyone that's smart. But to explain, how do these two things dovetail, or they do not dovetail? Or are they two different things? Oh, I don't know. Mustang, I don't know. I'm sorry if anyone's beefing here. I like everyone that's in the chat. I don't know. Again, I don't keep track of really what's going on in the Discord anytime, but hopefully anytime anyone comes here, we can talk and make some ground on it. Nah, I'm not even sure who Mustard is. Yeah, you know what? You're probably right because there's so many people that are buried there. Like I said, that it's so old. I think they quit taking people in 2011. There's a board that runs it. They're not necessarily an owner. So, yeah, it isn't like necessarily, if people died a couple hundred years ago, how many people are actually going to go visit there and things like that. And there was actually a guy that got interviewed that talked about how bad the grass was and how bad that it wasn't being taken care of. And he would actually cut some of it just because it needed done. It wasn't like anyone paid him or he asked for any money. He just kind of, did the right thing there. But now let me show you guys what I wanted to show you before. And it helps explain where this guy is coming from, in my opinion. So let me just go back through this. And I took a screenshot of this. And I was pretty sure that this was the reason because, again, it's not always the reason, but it's the reason a lot of times. These folks do these things. So let me pull the screenshot up. I took it's an article, but it's the main part of the article that I was looking for that I wanted to share with you guys was this right here. Let me cue her up, as they say, and as the pros would say. We're going to share this tab, and let's make sure we're right. Computer's running a little slow today. We'll put her on the stage and see what we got. This should be okay, good. Let me go back here. I'll read this to you. So, psychologically speaking, as we, always are here, oops, sorry about that, as we always try to talk like we're shrinks a little bit, just a little bit. Let me get that out of there. See, every time I try to get that stupid thing out of there, I'm just going to leave it up, scroll past it. So, like I said, let me just double check we're right. We're right. Okay. Psychologists say the motivations for grave robbing vary, but at the root is a need for power and control. Power and control always comes back to power and control. Now, again, this guy has not been charged, or do we know actually killed anybody or been in a series of kills or anything like that, but he's a serial grave robber. And I just wonder how far removed is that? Is it, we're in the same neighborhood, or we're in different states here? I would think we'd be more apt to be in the same neighborhood and being close. Thieves feel empowerment from when they take from the dead, justifying their crimes as having no real victim or seeing the theft as revenge for perceived injustice. Eat the rich. I don't necessarily think that's what's happening here. Those were movements that happened way back where they would dig up people's tombstones. It even goes back to ancient Egypt, and there would be some kind of thing gained from that, some kind of knowledge or wealth or something like that. Sociopaths find an outlet for antisocial behavior, whether it's extreme vandalism or an ability to relate to the living, or an obsession with the dead and all the things related to death. And psychopaths, they satisfy unspeakable urges. Some, like Ed Gein, go on to murder. So this doesn't get too into it, but it kind of explains it. Some do. I would like to know, of those some that do, what are the signs as opposed to some that don't? So are we dealing with just a regular grave robber, or a grave robber who is escalating up, the violence ladder, if you will? What were Gerlach's motivations? The truth will come out in time. The details will be horrific. We will be further shocked by this man's behavior. Perhaps what is most disturbing is that the reasons behind crimes like Gerlach's are impossible to fully understand. But it gave him an identity in a subculture that exists on the fringes of society. These were these Facebook groups and things like that. And that this subculture even exists is perhaps the most disturbing revelation of them all. Well, if you're a true crime fan, it's not extremely a disturbing revelation. You've heard worse revelations than that. We try to understand why. What's the deal with the bones? Why are people into the bones? It's not always just some sick fascination. Are they using it? Is there different reasons that they can use this? Are they using it in ceremonies? Is it a religious thing? Is it just clearly a clinical psychology thing, an insanity thing? It's very, very interesting. I find all of it very interesting. How can we find these people at a younger age and get them back on the right track? Is that even possible? I don't know. But again, to surmise all that, Jonathan Gerlach, 34, he has over 500 charges. Someone, maybe it was someone that was in the house or someone that wasn't in the house. They want to maybe protect whoever dropped the dime here. Saw a body hanging in the basement. You don't just hang the body. You're preparing it for something. If it's hanging in the basement, a lot of people do it with deer, not necessarily in their basement, I don't think. But hey, your neighbor comes home. I'm in Pennsylvania. Maybe in different states this would be wild. But hey, the neighbor shot a deer. It's hanging on the porch, draining. Preparing it to take it to the butcher, taxidermy, whatever it is. So the taxidermy stuff is big on this too. The taxidermy stuff kind of intertwines with the bone collecting through my research thus far that I found out. This guy's traveling almost 3 hours from Ephrata, PA to Yaden, PA, which is right outside of Philadelphia. Many famous people, buried there, soldiers, very old, cemetery, so there's probably very easy access. As we think about it, how many people are going to visit someone that passed away a couple 100 years ago, or 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago? So he had his in and out. So it appeared he was doing things like that. Maybe he started kicking over graves. Maybe he started things like that. I don't know. I'd like to know more about the girlfriend. Was she some kind of mental situation where this was okay? Was this a situation where, you go back to Delphi, was a situation where I think it happened in Delphi where Richard Allen totally controlled his wife, and that's why she didn't see anything? Is it possible that this was a situation, your Patty Hearst type thing, and then they become, complicit or compliant? I want to know what she has to say, and I'm very interested in that. I don't think this is ever going to go to court. This guy's talking freely. Unless he gets an attorney. But I think this guy wants to tell his story. He wants to be like Ed Gein. What did I do wrong? I don't understand what I did wrong here. What's wrong about this? These people are passed away. I'm making things out of them. I'm doing things out of them. And my guesstimate is he wasn't robbing graves to make money. He was robbing graves for power and control. And he was selling things that he had to sell just to live, just to survive, food, shelter, things like that, gas in the car that he's driving 3 hours to the cemetery. Great work by the Yaden Police Department, who sat on this. We're going to find out. We'll find that out, how the investigation worked. Did they know they were actually looking for him? Were they just sitting there? Who put these two things together? So it's very interesting how that worked. But in this case, the police work appeared to work good. And they might tell us, hey, this guy wouldn't even hurt a fly. He was just into dead people's bones. It's interesting. But again, how do we get to the point? Yeah. They're discussing emptying grave. Wow, that's interesting. Room. Well, I tell you what, we went to Key West, beautiful place last year. There's a cemetery there, and you walk around it. And maybe it's a little bit morbid, I don't know, but there's a lot of really old things that are buried there. Pirates, maybe crazy, funny things on tombstones, which I would like at some point if I ever get buried to put something funny on my tombstone. Rodney Dangerfield's tombstone says, "There goes the neighborhood." And even in death, if you can make people laugh, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, that's interesting there. I would worry about diseases and things like that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's an interesting thing. Eventually, yeah. I mean, if we're around in 500 years, there's still going to be places to bury people. That's an interesting thing, but everyone be nice to everybody here, please. And so if there's any questions or anything, you guys all know kevlar148gmail.com. If you have any other information on this that you want to send me, I'm interested in it. You'd be doing me a favor. Send it to me or comment on one of my posts or something like that. And we'll see how this goes and this plays out, because it is you wonder how in the hell people get like this or what happens, but there's always an explanation. Someone doesn't just snap. Jimmy just snapped and went. He didn't just snap. Things happen leading up to it. You can look back and see it, right? Really easy to look back. Hindsight's 20/20. But how can we look forward? We identify Jimmy got an issue right now. Jimmy has an issue. How can we fix this? So that's the ultimate plan. So that's what I have on Jonathan Gerlach thus far. And like I said, I was talking to Frank Meister about it, and it's so Euphrates is probably about 2.5 hours from me. And again, it's between Reading and Lancaster. This guy was driving about 3 hours to the cemetery, transporting stuff back. Whatever car he was using, I'm sure is loaded with whatever, cemetery dirt. There's a Sopranos quote, if you get it, as I always try to include them. But let's shift gears a little bit here, and let's talk a little bit about Rex Heuermann, because there's a couple updates to this case. One of them is from last year, or actually they're both from last year, but I want to share these with you because we did talk Heuermann quite extensively, and we will continue to talk Heuermann quite extensively. So there was victims, right? Go-Go Beach. There was 2 victims. There was Peaches, who had a tattoo of a peach on her shoulder, and there was a baby that we knew was Peach's baby that was found separate from where Peach's was found. And in that area, the Go-Go Beach, was it a Heuermann situation? It was the first time there was ever a baby found. So where the baby was found, and where the bodies were found, I should say, a lot of people would think, hey, this is going to be, Heuermann. Because of the dumping grounds and things like that he was using, but it's not the case. So let me get here and get all these stupid pop-ups out of here. And I'm going to pull this up, and we're going to talk about this. And it was later proven that Peaches and her baby were not killed by Heuermann, but they were actually killed by the baby's father, a guy in Florida who was arrested before Christmas in December. So as soon as this New York Post site cooperates with me, because there's so much shit that comes up on this page, all these advertisements and all this other stuff. We're rolling with it. We don't want to move. I don't know if I'm still up here or not. What happened to my computer? Because everything is frozen. Technology, huh? Yeah, I appear to have everything frozen. I don't even know if you guys can hear me or not on this one here. My clock isn't running and my screen isn't working. I'm assuming that this is working. It's just something's goofy with my computer right now. So if you give me a second, I'm going to go ahead and read what I have, and hopefully it still works. Give me 1 second here. Again, I can't even see if my screen is up. I can't see anyone's comments, unfortunately. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article to you, assuming that my that we're working here. A Florida man was arrested for the killing of Peaches, the mom whose remains were discovered on Long Island and whose 1997 slaying was long believed to be tied with the Gilgo Beach serial murders. Nassau County Police Department officials on Friday confirmed the arrest of Andrew Dyke, 66, who was busted near Tampa on a warrant out of New York Wednesday. This was back in December now. Wednesday, just months after authorities finally identified the victim named Peaches, a 26-year-old Army veteran, Tanya Jackson. I think she was identified more in April. It was more than a couple of weeks. Dykes, the father of Jackson's 2-year-old daughter, Tatiana Marie Dykes, whose scattered remains were found in 2011 miles away from where her mother's body was found, law enforcement says. Okay, Jinx, because my screen just went black. Thanks for texting me. I don't know what the hell is going on, but I'm going to keep talking because that's what I'm good at. The issue that I might, there I am. The issue that I might come up on is I might not be able to turn it off, my live. So whatever the heck was going on doesn't appear to be going on now. No idea. I'm not a computer guy. So what I'm going to try to do is get this here back up. We'll see if we can get it to work. There's a picture of the guy. So this was the baby's dad that ended up doing this. It was not Rex Heuermann. But you see all this crap that comes up here. I got to find something better than the New York Post. Holy advertisements back, man. Goodness gracious. I ain't buying none of this shit. How about that? Here's a picture of the guy. This is about where we were. Nassau District Attorney Office declined comment. But they, appears to be, you could roll Heuermann out of this. Here's the guy, the dad. I don't know why it took so long, but something was found DNA wise. They were able to rule Rex Heuermann out, something concrete. And so was found, and I don't know what took so long to the baby's dad, because that's during an investigation. One-off killing by this guy. It was a domestic issue. Killed the mom, killed the baby. Not a series where we have Heuermann. We know we have a couple other people that were working that same area, and their times overlapped. And Heuermann figuring out whose bodies were who, and Rifkin's not necessarily an honest guy, so you don't know what the hell to believe from him. The Alabama native, long been living in Brooklyn and working as a medical assistant at the doctor's office at the time she vanished. The mother and daughter were long believed. Here we go again. Linked to notorious Gilgo Beach, in which remains of 10 other people. But again, Heuermann, so he's not picking up. This further enforces, and we know already, he's a very, very fastidious, organized serial killer. He was not going to take someone that had a baby with him. He just wasn't going to do that. It's not smart if you are a serial killer to do something like that. So he's off the hook for that. But I expect more, guys. I truly, truly do. I think this is going to be. It's going to be bad. It's going to be horrific. This guy was, scum. I'm going to show you here if this computer wants to work. Maybe it's the New York. Let me get down here. Get to the heart of the matter, because I want to read you something about Heuermann's upcoming trial. Yeah, this is just shitty today. know what's happening. But I'm going to read it because I don't know. You want to blame Elon Musk, Bill Gates, somebody. Not me. Okay, we're back up here again. We'll try this one more time. I don't know why everything's running so slow, but I definitely apologize for that. And let me get back to this. Let's see. No, we don't want to work. Piss on it. Yeah. I'm trying to get this off the screen, guys. Maybe it's time for a new computer. I don't use this for anything else but this. So like, it isn't like there's a bunch of shit on here or anything like that. It was my son's computer. So anyways, what the hell with it? I hope I'm still, oh, there we go. I'll share this on my community page. Judge Scholes alleged Gilgo Beach killer's defense. Val's trial will begin come hell or high water. So maybe this is a friend of Judge Gall's. I don't know. The lawyers representing alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann received a stern warning from New York judge presiding over the case. Judge Tim Mazzy, hopefully I'm not saying that wrong, expressed his frustration when Heuermann's legal team in a hearing on Tuesday after the case is dragged through the Long Island courts over 2 years. The trial will begin a day after Labor Day, come hell or high water, the judge said. The scolding came after Heuermann's lawyer Michael Brown introduced a new stack of motions further challenging evidence in the infamous murder case. So this is going down. The new defense filings reportedly challenged roughly 20 search warrants carried out by authorities throughout the investigation, with Heuermann's attorneys asking to suppress some of the DNA evidence, including a discarded pizza box. He's done. This guy did it. Of course they're going to want to throw that out. They're not going to say, well, he was here at the time or he was here. He's on camera here. No, because he's the guy that did it. If our government could go into our garbage can and take our DNA and learn everything about us, what's the purpose of having a Fourth Amendment? So when you throw garbage away, it's public. It's public. When you think that it's right or not, write your congressman. But when you throw something in your garbage can, they can come and take it out and they can use it against you. It's 100% legal. Heuermann's case was different. They were tracking him. They were waiting for him to throw something away. They weren't just going through people's garbage cans like, oh, I wonder what we can find. They knew this guy did it, or they thought that guy did it. And then, the DNA kind of proved that. So that's the update on that. So at least, Peaches has the opportunity, mom and daughter to have their place of rest. And the guy who did it it looks like that he's going to get his just desserts for this. So that's a thing. But again, I just think that there's more coming out of Heuermann. I don't know legal New York State that well, or pretty much any state, to be honest with you, when it comes to legalities. But is it easier to have a different trial with other victims, or you want to bring everyone in at once? I just wonder what that is, because I think with his time frame, these guys don't stop necessarily till they age out. Heuermann didn't age out. He didn't die. He didn't get sick. He continued, and he was planning more. He was actively planning more. So I think at some point we're going to get to the heart of this. This, I think, will go to trial. I don't know if he's going to say that he did it. I think he's a smart guy. As we know, he was a smart guy. We know he's an organized killer. But I think we'll get to the bottom of it. I think we'll hear a lot. And I don't think he will plead, if I had to guess. He's going to either be, I'm smarter than them, I'm going to beat them, blah, blah, blah. I'd be shocked if he pleaded. But I know if he's ever going to talk, though. I look at him like a Golden State, like Gary D'Angelo. He's keeping that. That's his last bit of power. Why did I do this? How did I do this? They might prove how I did it, but they're never going to hear it from me. Hopefully, for the family's sake, at some point he does allocute what he did, explain everything that he did. So Billy Baldwin. Not a problem. It's cold here. It's going to be really cold this week, too. Cold. The Florida license plate sent from the great Jinx and Rescue All the Dogs. That's what it is. I don't know if Rex would be a gentleman, but I don't think he'd necessarily care about the babies. It would just be one more thing to impede what he wanted to do. So he's a cold, calculating guy, and it's just he just doesn't want to have that one more thing to worry about, one more thing to do. And I think it also goes to show you that he was keeping them. He was torturing some of them, if not all of them, for days in that room. And I think we're going to hear about that. I think he's going to be one of Rescue All Dogs, 100% Right, Scum of the Earth. He's going to be one of these just heinous individuals that, and kind of become stuff of legend. And yeah. Thank you to some of my old cool ones. You got Shaq. I'm looking at the thing here. We got Shaq, a couple old Kobe jerseys, my Michigan jerseys there. Old Chris Webber jersey. I had him hanging on the walls at my other house before I moved there. If you guys remember some of them. Heuermann's haircut's bad. Yeah. A bald guy like me could talk shit on that haircut. He got the Mo. He went into a barbershop and said, make me look like Mo from the Three Stooges. And he gets the guys that shave like up here, like some kind of futuristic robot sent back to save us or something. Well, I hope everyone figures things out here and everyone's cool with each other here. Again, I'm lost on if there's any beefs going on. But when you come here, make your comments. Everyone's welcome. Try to, shift your topic to someone else if you can do it. That would be great. Free country, though, and as long as everyone's – I don't see anything. I haven't seen anything. I don't know if the mods are blocked, but I haven't seen anything bad or anything like that. But again, to recap, the Heuermann situation, we have the guy that did Peaches and her daughter, and Heuermann continues to move on and proceed with the judge saying, hell or high water, this is going to happen after Labor Day. So that's interesting. I look forward to that. That'll be a case that I will try to cover absolutely, because I find it very interesting. And I don't think Rex Heuermann's ever going to come out and say, this is what I did. I think it's going to be his last piece of power that he holds on to. That's a guesstimate. We'll see though, what made him like this? Is he going to talk about, he probably never will talk about his mother, that something happened. We know she was a little over domineering. Some of the girls he had a look that he was going for. And we know that from Ted Bundy. We trace it back to not necessarily the mother, but the girlfriend that he had when he had a normal life. And he was actually a stepdad and appeared to be a normal guy, even though he was killing people. Compartmentalization is key. And why was Rex Heuermann so fastidious, but his house looked the way it did? I don't understand that either. Was that some kind of really, really, advanced psychological play on people? Oh, my house is shitty. I want people to think that. I don't understand. I don't know if we'll ever hear about it from him. But I'll get you more on the Jonathan Gerlach, the bone collector case that they're calling it. And where we are from there, I'll look up some psychological stuff to study the bone collectors and do, killers. Is there a step up? Is it this? Is it that? So yeah, we shall see. But I appreciate everyone for coming in. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Stay warm. I look to be back doing something next week. Maybe I'll try to find out on the Gerlach situation on the psychological end, what's happening in different cases like that. That's interesting. There could be some more developments on that. That guy's talking. So that I think is going to move pretty fast. I just wonder how much testing they're going to have to do on bones. Or, I dug this one from here. Does he even know? These are from this are from that. So there's that whole process going on. So I think there'll be developments, but that even if he pleads, which it appears is going to happen, and be my guess, it's a long drawn out process to be able to hit this right and identify it all. So interesting to say the least. But I want to thank everybody for popping in. I'll be sharing some stuff, like I said, I'll share the things that I couldn't show. Of course, now everything's working, right? I think it's a guy named New York Post with all their ads jamming up my computer here, but we shall see. But anyways, everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy your football if your football teams are still available. I know a lot of you guys are excited for Monday night. The Hoosiers are 8.5-point underdogs, or 8.5-point favorites, which I think is a little low the line at Miami. But looking forward to that. The kids coming over, watching the game. And if you looked on ESPN, the Keysport Area School District made the ESPN because we had a 2-hour delay, which was announced before the Steeler game so people could get together and watch the game. And as a school board member, some people were happy and some people weren't happy. I remember 2-hour delays. I think it was only Super Bowl stuff like that. And now we're being called Yinzer High, the Yinzer High School, which I think is pretty cool. But like I said to the people at the meeting last night, if that's the worst that people have to say about us, we're doing something good. But I get it. You know, being now an elected official, I have, X amount of plates of shit that I have to eat. I'm okay with that as long as everyone keeps it respectful and real. Everyone has their right to an opinion. It's our country. But I thank you, everybody. I will talk to you soon. I'm going to go fill my coffee up here one more time. I got the Charlie Brown cup today. Good grief, right? Yeah. That's what I was thinking Monday night when we had 3 turnovers and got 2 field goals out of it. Good grief. But everyone take care. Thank you all for coming in and chat. Hopefully whatever is going on in chat, people could patch it up and, move forward with it. But Webster debate tomorrow with Andy and OJ. Yeah, that's recorded, right? Is that recorded? Is that what you're talking about? I did see that on there. And actually, the other day at work, we have a nice gym. I was working out. And I was like, man, I just wonder if I should listen to that. But I don't know if that's a live debate or if he's just airing it tomorrow. But, Delphi's in a book for me. I'm interested to hear what his attorneys have to say. I know Rossie's gone away, and I don't blame him. You got the goddamn Teen Wolf's dad and Mrs. OJ, and they are over the top. And the appeal is over the top, in my opinion. And it's at the end of it, it's the same shit. The guy did it. Some people were making money off continuing to drag mentally ill people through their page and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it's a free country. Don't listen to them. Fuck them. 2 words. Fuck them. Go on your way. But I'm not doing that here. And I'm try to bring you more interesting stuff every time. So have my coffee. Give you all a great weekend and say Coach Kev out. I love you all. Thanks everyone for joining me. Hopefully we learned something tonight and check for this afternoon. And I'll share some things on these cases in my posts. So check them out. Coach Kev